Hello, everyone. This is Super Kelly Brothers YouTube channel. My name is Sloan Kelly.
My name is Jody Kelly.
And my name is James Baker.
And just let you know that we release videos every Monday and Thursday. So if you want to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell to get timely reminders of when we upload. We put videos out every Monday and every Thursday. And of course, if you wouldn't mind smashing that like button, that'd be great as well. It helps the channel. And share the video as well if you like the videos. And leave comments below as well. All of this helps the channel, gets our name out there, and more people watch it and all that kind of stuff. So today we're going to be talking about people you love to hate when you watch a movie or a TV show. The villains, which we haven't really talked about on our previous top 10s. So each of us is taking a turn, and this week it is James's turn. So James, who's on your rogues gallery?
In my rogues gallery. Okay, so mines are mostly in order. They're kind of in order. When it gets to the last three, they're definitely in order. So let's go in at number 10 with the Alien Queen.
Ooh.
The alien.
You've gone in tough.
Queen. What a cow she was! Holy smokes!
That's a curveball, by the way.
I know.
You don't went Alien, you went Alien Queen.
I went Alien Queen because I remember watching Alien as a kid. Like a lot of those films when they come out in the mid-'80s, when I shouldn't have been watching them. A lot of the stuff went over my head. But upon third or fourth viewing, remember when Ripley decides, like, I'm going down, I'm going to rescue. I'm sure she's going down to rescue Newt. I've seen that film 50 times, but I've not seen it in a long time. But I'm sure she's going down to rescue Newt, and she's standing there with a flamethrower.
Aliens.
She finds it's in Aliens, and then she sees all the eggs, and then she's got the flamethrower, and she knows she's outgunned. However, she's banking on the fact that if you are any kind of reasonable mother to all these horrible things, you will want to protect them if it's a hive mentality. So I can't remember what comes first. She fires the flamethrower in the air and then points it at an egg. And then somehow the Alien Queen signals to two of her children / guards. And I don't know if you recall this, it was quite subtle in the film. One comes towards her and another one comes towards her, and Ripley looks at the Alien Queen like, really? You're going to do this? All right, all bets are off. And then she just torches the whole lot. Please tell me you guys remember that.
I don't know.
No, that is a total crucial scene. You should definitely go back and watch it, because it took me
I
in
need
the
to see
fourth.
that film. I need to see that film again.
It's the fourth or fifth time I watched it, and I was just like, that's happening. That's like so subtle.
Near the end.
It's all. Sorry.
Near the end.
It's It's before she gets into the power loader. So she's.
Does the Queen have all the people all kind of cocooned and stuff?
No, it's not. It's not there. She has. It's just like this huge floor, and all it is just eggs, and eggs.
Oh man, I need to see.
Yeah,
and
she's got the ovipositor and she's laying on.
Oh yeah, and I'm sure Ripley's following the watch that Hicks gave her, which she actually gave to Newt, and I'm sure she's following that as a tracking device. So she follows. She comes down to like the lowest level. Meanwhile, the background Bishop's taken off because the landing area was too unstable. But she stands there, and this whole subtle scene. And if you go back and watch it, and if you've missed it, it's a great scene to go back and watch. She's
That's another one I need to see again.
It's all about the subtlety. Nothing is said. It's just an unspoken language. They're actually speaking to each other without using words. And I think the Alien Queen's like a proper cow, and I love her.
Brilliant.
So, Alien Queen.
I've probably seen the first one more times than I've seen the second.
Yeah.
Well worth visiting. I quite well worth revisiting. I quite like the
definitely
of Aliens with the sentry guns and all the extra stuff that Hudson says on the dropship. It's a good film. She's a cool character, the Alien Queen.
Brilliant film.
So coming in at number 9 on my list is from Star Trek Discovery, Michelle Yeoh, who I think is a brilliant actor. She plays Captain Philippa Giorgio. You seen Discovery, Sloan?
No.
No, you're not?
No. It's
Oh, sorry.
okay.
I'm back in the room.
Right. I'm just going to say this really, really quickly. I don't like
the Kelvin timeline.
This isn't the Kelvin timeline.
I know, it's some weird bastardization thing. I don't like it.
It is a little bit of a bastardization, but it's not the Kelvin timeline. Can I just say, do you guys like Michelle Yeoh?
Oh, yeah. No, she's a great actress. Yeah.
Okay, so she plays Captain Philippa Giorgio, who eventually, spoilers, dies. And Star Trek has this mirror universe where the evil version of yourself can possibly come over. Well, there's an evil version.
Or sexy version.
Evil /sexy version, Nichelle Nichols included, comes over and she poses as the actual Captain Philippa Giorgio, and she just chews up the scenery. It's just like Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever. It's just like every hammy actor that chews up the scenery, and it's just one of those villains. Cool. So I'm not going to go on about it too much. I just like Michelle Yeoh, and I like actors who chew up the scenery, and they've just given her lots and lots of money to just go and do that. So she's very, very good. So it's one of those villains that I love to hate. So that's why she's there. Cool. Now, in the same vein, this is my number 8, as Jody, you were talking about Freddy Krueger. When it comes to those big slashers, you've got Jason. The heavyweights are Jason, Freddy, and Michael Myers. Michael's my guy. Because Freddy's too. I really like him, and I'm petrified of him. Well, especially as a kid, Freddy is quite. He's not centered in our world. No, he's too into the kind of the mystique, and he's definitely got special powers. Jason, you can kill him. You can kill him again and again and again in horrific ways. But he'll just keep on coming back, and there's definitely that supernatural element. Whereas Michael Myers is proper. Well, I think he's the most steeped in reality out of all those 3 heavyweights.
He's superhuman.
He's superhuman, and I think the stuff that happens to him, you could possibly misconstrue and get away with in actual reality. And I just celebrate that when it comes to. He
did become less scary when he did Shrek, though.
And Austin Powers.
As well. I know.
You're right. You're right.
He was less scary then, but in the Halloween films, he was quite scary.
Oh yeah, no, he's terrifying.
Very scary. See the bit when he jumps out the window? Like, brilliant. I've killed him. I think they stab him, and he falls through a window, and
it's Jamie Lee Curtis,
2 floors down.
It is.
And then brilliant. He's dead, and they look down, and the kind of imprint and the leaves are there, but he's gone.
Aye.
Survived that fall.
Have you seen the most recent Halloween film?
The one
with Jamie Lee Curtis? She's back in it. Where they just forget every other Halloween that was done. They just take Halloween 1 and 2 and forget everything else. And it's just basically her 30 or 40 years later, however many years it is.
So it's like a direct sequel.
It's a direct sequel to those. And it's also like, it's around about the time where the whole Me Too, #MeToo thing was happening. So it's a Me Too movie. And there was parts where when Jamie Lee Curtis was filming it, she was just like properly emotionally distraught. And the director and everyone who was working on set had to like coax her through it. And there's also reverse scenes of, how Jason fell out the window and she's like, oh my gosh, he's dead. She looks out and he's gone. Well, a lot of those scenes are reversed in this latest version where Michael pushes her out the window and he walks over silently with his big knife, and he looks out and she's gone. And it's a lot of those things. It's a really, really cool film. The latest one is. So anyway, Michael's up there.
On Netflix?
I don't know where it's on. I want to see the pictures. That who plays Kenny Powers? Is it Kevin McBride? He was also Kenny Powers. Oh, Eastbound and Down.
Oh right, yeah, Danny McBride.
Danny McBride. Sorry, he's got a lot to do with that. He was in fact, he was in Alien, not Resident, the last one, Covenant.
Oh, was he?
He's done. Danny McBride.
Oh no, he was. Yeah, he was one of the crew.
Huh? He was, yeah. So he's done quite a lot, even though he's like heavily into comedy. He's done quite a lot of horror stuff. So Danny McBride's got quite a lot to do. I don't think he's purchased the franchise, but he's heavily involved in like the scripts and stuff like that. And it's genuine and good, and especially the last film, definitely worth revisiting.
So
Michael Myers
going back to the kind of original concept.
It is the opening scene to the latest Halloween film. Is basically these English podcasters who are on a kind of unsolved mysteries.
Wait a minute.
Thing.
This is getting a bit too real now.
I know.
What with Scottish podcasters?
I know. It's a brilliant, horrific film.
Right.
Seeped a lot more in reality because they take Michael Myers as an actual person as opposed to like someone who's in a mental institution properly, and you almost get to see him. Worth a show. Worth a rewatch. Yeah. So. And I just remember watching Michael as a kid and thinking, I'm absolutely petrified of you.
Oh, yeah.
So he's up there. So he's my number 7.
Oh, by the way, just a quick one. Do you know the original mask? How that came about?
I know this, but say it.
It's a William Shatner Star Trek mask that's been repurposed.
Yeah. Aye. I like that. I like that little...
It's mad, isn't
it? A little bit of info. Yeah.
I don't think he ever
Jim Kirk's not up here, but he is.
He should be.
Just here. It's never far away.
That's also a great gun as well. He's got
the best.
It's a great what?
The gun that he's got in that. That's one of the publicity shots that they did for Star Trek back in the day. It's like a ray gun rifle thing.
It's his phaser rifle.
Yeah. I don't think it was ever used in the show, but they did it like a.
When I secretly spent £90 on that action figure, it came with all these little extra guns and stuff like that. I never told Gillian, so she's not there.
This flying punch coming in.
You know what it is? It's good that I consider you two guys, because I feel like the less geekiest.
Actually, that was a rifle, and it wasn't actually on the movie. It was on a poster, a figurine.
Oh, nice. Absolutely.
Brickheads he's trying to do his little prosper thing.
I see a robot here from 1957. Very rare. Very rare. It's worth $3,000 mint.
That looks like a plug, Jody.
No, it's from Star Wars Battles Zone.
Blah, 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 blah.
So I'm going to go. Michael Myers. Michael Myers is my number 7. Michael Myers is my number 8. Number 8. I'm going to number 7. Zombies in general. So because I just remember being terrified by them. So they are generally
James's top 90.
Generally, this is my backdoor top 20, top 10, but backdoor top 20. Zombies in general.
Always breaking the rules, James, isn't he?
That's why you've got me on here.
My favourite zombies.
Rule breaker.
My favourite zombies are in Shaun of the Dead. I love the zombies in Shaun of the Dead because they're actually zombies, proper zombies, as opposed to.
What's your favourite type of zombie then, James?
I just remember watching the ones that terrified me the most. A lot of my lists are comprised of things that affected me the most when I was younger. And I remember watching this thing called Zombie Flesh Eaters. And all the zombies ended up in Manhattan, but there was a shark versus zombie scene. I don't know if it's a fairly iconic scene where this guy actually put all this zombie makeup on and actually fought a shark underwater. There were no special effects. It was just like, listen, we kind of just wanted you to fight this shark. So
I read recently that the Beatles were offered to get back together in 1975, and it was a guy fighting a shark. I wonder if that was a footage.
I don't know. Well, the guy fighting the shark is an actual thing that actually happened. The poor stuntman who had to do it, but it was only like a cutscene. I bet he got paid like $100.
Oh yeah,
probably
like something.
75.
You know how
you got to keep the clothes.
You know, there's all those spaghetti westerns. By the way, I think that guy, with memory serves me correct, had his fist right down that shark's mouth. It was like a proper fight.
Oh,
proper fight.
If I was fighting a shark, I would probably try and go for its eyes like that.
For its eyes,
Yeah.
aye.
Well, although it'd be biting me as I was doing that.
Spoilers. That's exactly what they do in the Meg. They go for the eyes.
Would you?
Not this zombie. It's fist down your throat. So
That sounds like another
See,
movie.
that's-
Anyway.
Jody.
Oh my God.
I
See, in
prefer
actual
fist down your
fact-
throat too, mind you. My favourite.
See, in actual fact, zombies in general, as a kid, was petrified of, and I just grew to love them. Like a lot of the stuff that I'm like passionate about now, it's just I was petrified at the time, and I just grew to love it. So I just think zombies in general, whether it's the original Dawn of the Dead, the remake of the Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's version, the political overtones that Romero, in every one of his films, but especially in Night of the Living Dead. You know, I don't know if you've seen Night of the Living Dead, and you know it's just black and white, and there's like a black
coming
guy and
for you,
there's white
Barbara.
guys.
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder done the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Aye.
Yep. And Tom Savini done the remake of the original Day of the Dead, of the original remake, but the original Day of the Dead, it's super, super political to the point where back in the 60s, I'm sure it was the 60s that it was made, because it was certainly black and white. There's a black lead actor.
Yeah,
and Romero was always into like non-white or non-male lead roles, and always had people who were either Irish or Latino or African American or female as the lead role, and I just always liked that about all Romero's films. I totally was. I met Romero once, so
James,
that's
you're a
just a wee
legend,
side-
really?
just a wee side note.
Wow.
So anyway, so Petrified of Zombies, that's why my number 7 is them in general. I'm going to go into number 6, Clubber Lang from Rocky 3.
Oh.
Because
really?
watching Mr. T, just remember watching. I had the same feeling about Clubber Lang as I did when I watched Mike Tyson when I was younger. I was just like, yeah, that guy is so scary, and he's unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
And having lived through, the Apollo Creeds, fighting Rocky and watching Rocky 1 and Rocky 2, and like, he's my hero. And then Clubber Lang is an absolute definite threat to him. So he features in my rogues gallery because I was, quite frankly, afraid of him as a kid. And then it was hard to get used to him as B.A. Baracus, a nice guy.
I loved Rocky 3, and I used to have a Rocky 3 poster up my wall. But I hope I'm not spoiling your top 10. You've not got another Rocky character
I don't know.
in there?
No, it's not. I know who I think I know who you're talking about.
Ivan Drago for me is the ultimate
The
bad
epitome
guy
of.
because he killed Apollo Creed.
It was a rather clumsy allegory for the Cold War, but yeah.
It wasn't a great movie. That movie is just a full montage, by the way.
Yeah.
The whole movie is a montage.
The bit where he goes in, he's got all the gymnasium set up. And it's just like cue montage.
See that montage when he's training. It's outrageous what he's doing. Do you remember it?
No,
I can't remember it. No, I remember the song.
Just remember the
dragon stuff. And he's like doing these mad sit-ups and hanging off a barn, and oh my god, it's mental.
I like in Rocky Balboa when they kind of relaunched the whole franchise, where they was just like, oh, you're old basically, so
that movie.
You haven't got many skills, you're not fast, so we're just gonna train you for like brute strength. I can't remember what the guy said. His trainer says he calls it something, and I just can't recall. But it was very, very cool. You're old,
a bum, Rocky.
Yeah, pretty much.
The worst one of those
just
movies is
train
Rocky
you to be
5, isn't it?
One of the worst ones.
Rocky 5 is the worst one. Remember when he trains the Street Fighter boy?
The kid.
It's rubbish, man.
Aye.
I love all the other ones though. I love Rocky 4, even though it's a montage. I love it.
So Clubber Lang just cacked it as a kid. I was just like, oh no, what's going to happen to Rocky? Because I felt we could defeat him. So he's in my rogues gallery.
Nice
someone
one.
who I love to hate. So anyway, let's go on to number 5, Norman Bates. Psycho's got to be one of my all-time favourite films, apart from Jaws. Jaws is probably my favourite film, but Norman Bates is just up there as a proper weirdo. Someone who you think might need sympathy, but then you're like, oh no, hold on a second. I shouldn't be feeling sorry for him because he's doing all this horrible, evil, creepy stuff.
That's why I never put him in, actually, because I kind of do feel sorry for him.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I didn't put him in, because I kind of thought about him. But I love Psycho. It's one of the perfect movies.
Aye, definitely. So as opposed to loving to hate him, I hate to love him. He's probably the only one on there that I would reverse that wee phrase. But what a great, complex character, and Hitchcock, like Romero, is ahead of his time with that, with him specifically.
Great casting as well with Anthony Perkins. I think
he's
perfect,
isn't it?
Put it this way: we wouldn't be talking about him as being one of your favourite villains if it hadn't done a great job. But
for sure,
it seemed to me like he was made to do that role.
Does anyone remember Psycho 2?
Yes.
I've watched it,
but I can't remember it.
Meg Tilly.
That's good as well.
Meg Tilly or Jennifer Tilly?
They flip it. Oh God! Now you're
because there's a bit. The bit I remember is the bit where he goes into the drawer to find something, to find a knife, and he says, "I'm just looking for some cutlery." I always liked that line.
They flip it. Psycho 2, they flip it, so he's out and he's been reformed and all that. But there's these murders happening, and it's the kind of whodunit, because he's like, because he's got the kind of blackouts, so he's like, I don't know if it was me that did it or not. So he's doubting himself, right? It's a good movie, man. It's really good.
Don't say too much, because I've not seen it in ages, and I literally cannot remember anything about it except that it's in colour.
It's good.
Yeah.
And wasn't in the original? It was Janet Leigh, which was Jamie Lee Curtis's mum. Yeah. So the
original Scream Queen.
A couple of Scream Queens, right there.
Two beauties
in the family.
Yep.
So cool. So Norman Bates, definitely. Number 4 is Thanos, and I don't just mean normal Thanos. The Thanos that intrigues me the most, and the one that I love the most, and the one I think is the scariest, is the one in Endgame. And not the one that dies in Endgame, the one that travels forward in time to the future with that knowledge and that hunger.
Yeah,
and it's like a newfound determination, because when Thanos retires to the garden because his work is done, I'm just like, I'm bored with that Thanos. That this kind of young version of him comes forward. I don't know how many years it is, because Avengers was in 2014. I don't know what the time period is, but it's the younger Thanos that comes forward to the future.
I think it's 2014, because it's the Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's right.
One.
Aye. So he wants it so bad in 2014, and he at some point throughout the film discovers, wait a minute, I've actually discovered what's happening here. So now I can go with confidence to the future, because we found a way to do it, and just be like, I guess, like the Terminator. I'm so driven now. It's unbelievable. Where I was trying to put the pieces together before, now I don't need to. They're all there. I've discovered it. I've had a moment of clarity. I've had the quickening, and I'm there. And I just think that version of Thanos is the best version of Thanos. So
definitely, I totally agree with you there.
That is so it's not just Thanos, it's Endgame.
See the effects, the Josh Brolin. You can see him in that character, the way they've done it.
Yes,
even though it's a CGI character, but you can see when it clicks in his head, he works out what's happening without saying anything. It's a great scene.
Definitely.
Love that bit.
It's totally. I think Brolin's amazing as him, and I think the effects. I mean, like if you look at the Justice League Big Bad, and if you look at Wonder Woman's Big Bad, and if you look at the actual animation in the DC universe, it's not good. Especially after seeing like Infinity War and Endgame, you're just like, oh, it's rubbish, man. Like Marvel / Disney have their stuff sorted out when it comes to that.
Yeah. All the de-aging stuff and Thanos, and it just looks so real.
Mhm.
It's the skin textures, the kind of layers, and the waiter and studios got it right with Gollum as well. You know, the kind of layers of they asked a guy. Well, you've probably all seen the documentary about the movie, how the Gollum character came about and stuff, and it was a painter, and they asked him, how do you get those skin textures? And he was like, it's layers of layers upon layers upon layers, because you've got like, that's what skin's made up of. So that's what they did, and that's how they texturized Gollum to make him look so good. And they were the kind of pioneers with that.
Were they?
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Did they do stuff with Ian Holm?
Yeah.
They de-aged
him in The Hobbit.
Yeah. That's
And
Waiter
also
that did all that. Yeah, he did all those movies.
Lord of the Rings as well. He gets de-aged.
But Waiter started off not being a digital company. Waiter is Peter Jackson's company, and he pushed them to kind of go into digital stuff and things like that, because they were always doing wee effects for him and stuff. They pioneered the crowds. You know, when you see all the orcs and all that.
Of course,
Ending upon a battle scene, that's all digital, and it was all done as a like a fluid mechanic type thing, but it was figures. You know?
Yep. They all had purpose. They all had.
And you'd see them all falling off the top of, castles and things like that.
But what was that? Is it Battle of Helm's Deep? That's when you
so,
really saw the proper kind of orc battle to take that. Yeah, that makes sense.
So they pioneered all that stuff, and Thanos just looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Aye, absolutely.
But I don't know who did the special effects. Was that ILM? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I just have it all down as a Disney thing, so they own it all. So
I wonder who did it.
Anyway, so
great.
Thanos into number 4, or that particular version of Thanos. Number 3 is director Krennic from Rogue One, because he's just a dick. And I think Ben Mendelsohn is brilliant at him. Just from the very start of the film, when he's, he lands on where it's Iceland, isn't it, Jody?
It is.
When he lands on Iceland, I can't remember what the planet is, and he meets Hannibal Lecter.
Jakku, but it sounds very similar to Jakku.
Who did Hannibal Lecter play? What's the actor's name?
Oh, Skarsgård?
No, it's not Skarsgård, no.
Skellen?
But he's Danish.
But
anyway, from the very beginning of that film all the way to the end, he's just a dick. And he's such a great bad guy. And when I was putting this together, my kids were like, "Dad, what about?" And I'm going to spoil my top 10 a little bit, because Loki isn't in my top 10, and I think Loki's a great bad guy. But they're like, "What about? How come Loki's not in your top 10?" I'm just like, because I just think Krennic's more of a dick than Loki. Yeah. I think Loki has a bit of charm about him.
He does,
and he's a little bit more likable. Whereas there's nothing. I'm not saying there's nothing charming about Krennic. He's just a dick.
He is.
And I think if that's all you have to say about someone, surely they're worthy of being in your rogues gallery.
He's like a manager that just wants the job done no matter what. He's I hear what you're saying, but just go and kill those farmers for me, please.
The Qui-Gon Jinn's words ring in my ears though when I see characters like this, because he always says there's always a bigger fish, and Krennic thinks he's a big fish, and he's not. For a start, he's got one of those white uniforms, which is like the science division or something.
Yep.
He's only big in science in the Empire. He's not big in the military. The military
He's not big in war.
Yeah, Moff Tarkin is the daddy, as far as he's concerned. And the Emperor's right-hand man is Vader, and he gets slapped by him.
Yeah,
bitch slapped.
in this.
he is actually.
Is
He does come across as like quite up there, but in the grand scheme of things that you've just said, Sloan, he's actually not. He's actually quite a small fish.
But he's one of these guys.
Wrong
that
department.
You know,
Yes.
I met these guys at work. I won't name names, but you know, they come across as being a leader, or they come across as being, you know, if you walked into an office, you're like, all right, you see this guy's mannerisms and all that, and you think, oh, he must be one of the kind of guys, but he's just a big ego and a big, you know, the big I am type person,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, that's what Krennic is. He's the kind of
I like it when
I
Moff
am a-
Tarkin was like, "See that project you've been working on for a really, 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 really long time. You know, you think you're going to be in charge of it. It's just not going to happen because I'm in charge of it, pal."
I know.
And he throws a tantrum. You know, it's just like, okay, so you're definitely just a dick. So, so Krennic's my number 3. The Joker is my number 2. Now you had I was considering, I've got a couple of options here that I was going to insert if one of you guys had picked someone that I'd picked, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to stick with the Joker. Jody, you specifically said Heath Ledger was, you know, the villainous character, and if we're doing like characters from film and TV, the Joker in general, like every incarnation of the Joker, you know, even the one that was featured in Suicide Squad, whilst that's not my favourite, still is relevant. So from Cesar Romero to probably Jack Nicholson, which is, I would say, is I know you might not think it's dated well, but it affected me as a kid and made me fall in love with the whole franchise, and a worthy adversary.
I like that Joker. I like Jack Nicholson's Joker though.
For Batman, but there was I think I'm saying that with a bit of guilt, because there was a period of time where I was just like, oh, I'm not interested in Jack Nicholson being a Joker. Just want Heath Ledger. He's my Joker now. But then, upon reflection, I liked what he done with it, you know, and also like Cesar Romero. Also like all the different variations of the Joker that's throughout the comic books. And I don't know if you know who Grant Morrison is.
Of course.
So, Scottish guy.
Bold, mystical comic.
Of course, Gene Guru. Yeah, so he had, and I'm sure it was him, that he'd had this thing where his theory was all the different variations of the Joker were either this. I think he said they were not the same Joker. They were all different. All different. No. It was the other way around. I can't remember. Grant Morrison's far too complex for me to clearly comprehend what he's going on about.
He turned himself into a superhero, though, didn't he, Grant Morrison?
He healed himself. There was a period of time, I think he had like some really, really, really bad disease and wrote himself out of the disease in a comic book, and subsequently became better from a disease that most people don't recover from.
So he's technically a superhero himself.
Yeah, totally.
For real?
Totally. So, the Joker.
Such a bizarre. There's a documentary about him. He used to live in the West End of Glasgow.
Yeah. He does quite a lot of stuff. I'm going to retract that completely. I've seen one documentary which made me think he does quite a lot of stuff with Frankie Boyle, but I've seen one documentary done with Frankie Boyle, and I just love the conversations those guys have.
Actually, I'm thinking it was a documentary, but I think he's done I think there's a movie about him, though. Documentary movie about him. I might be wrong, so don't quote me.
So I think the Joker in general, I think my favourite version of the Joker was in the book. Sorry to go from movies, TVs to the book, but there is now a TV movie animated film about the Killing Joke, and that's probably my favourite version of the Joker. So
I didn't like
the book. The
book's great.
The
animated movie,
not so good, but I had to shoehorn the book in there somehow.
The book
is amazing.
You're cheating, James, again. Anyway,
I know. I think Brian Bolland's
okay. There's very little rules.
I know. I'm saying it as if it's a proper sport.
The rules are turn up. We are less prepared.
Oh,
that's
in that case,
it's okay. You don't need to write it down, Jody. You need a pen.
So listen, Joker's number 2. Number 1, I think all-time favourite.
Right.
in my all-time worst favorite in my rogues gallery. Much like I picked the zombies, I'm going to pick the Nazis. I just think, whether it's in Hellboy, all the Nazi stuff because they were the enemy, or whether it's in Inglourious Bastards or Raiders of the Lost Ark, like literally anything to do with them. I just think if Quentin Tarantino can make me enjoy the horrific things that were put onto the Nazis by Brad Pitt, or who played the Bear Jew? Was it Eli Roth?
Eli Roth.
Yeah. I mean,
director.
It was all the horrific stuff that was done to the Nazis. If I was cheering that on, then I clearly think the Nazis are, worthy adversaries to the point where I can stick them as the number one, in my rogues gallery.
Being
so in any incarnation, if there's one thing we all love to hate, is the Nazis.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't need to speak that much about it. I mean, that is the end of my list.
That's a good list.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough
Very
act to
nice.
follow.
I'm surprised it was different, actually. How different it was to mine.
I'm very surprised we've gone and only doing 2 lists of these. Normally we do 3. Oh well. Who's next?
Number 8, the Ewoks.
Number 5 will surprise you.
Yeah.
Ewoks. I went in a completely different direction, guys. Minions is in here. I don't know.
Well, don't spoil it.
It's not.
It's not
Or is
yet.
it?
Mm-hmm. You need to find out next week.
That's right. Next week when my list comes out. Hopefully you've already watched Jody's, which was out the previous week. That was James's top 10 villains in his rogues gallery. Thank you all for watching. If you'd like to share the video, let everyone know our opinions and help the channel out, that'd be great as well. Smash the subscribe button, notification bell, and the like button as well. All of this helps us. But thank you all for watching, and we will catch you in the next one.
Cool.
Cheers, guys.